Hi, 7th graders. This is the teacher help video for Study Guide Unit 1. So if you're doing this, remember the study guide is on a Google form, like you're going to see me working on, and you can take that as many times as you need to, over and over again, to get ready for the test. Do your work on scratch paper every time. Remember, on your test, you're going to have to turn that scratch paper in to get your grade released. And if you need to pause in between questions, go ahead and pause because I'm going to go through this rather quickly. If you have any additional questions, please make sure to ask. And remember, again, you can do the study guide as many times as you need to get ready for the Unit 1 test next week. So let's go and look at this. Don't forget to enter your first and last name. Pick your math class block. All right, here is the first question. Question 1. Rectangle A measures 18 inches by 6 inches. Rectangle B is a scaled copy of rectangle A. Select all of the measurement pairs that would be dimensions of rectangle B. In other words, scaled copies. So we can do this several different ways. We're going to compare the first numbers and then see if we get the same number for the second one. So since this is a decimal, I'm going to do 18 divided by 4.5. And when I do that, I get 4. And 1.5 times 4 gives me 6. Since it was the same scale factor used, I know that this is a scaled copy. Had equivalent sides. There we go. Second one. What number do I multiply 9 by to get to 18? 2. So let's check the second one. 3 times 2, it's 6. Another scaled copy. All right, the third one, this is a little trickier. So I'm going to put the copy over the original, 16 over 18, and I'm going to simplify that. Both of these divide by 2. And 16 divided by 2 gives me 8. 18 divided by 2 gives me 9. So let's look at the second side. It would have to be multiplied by 8 over 9. 4 is the copy. 6 is the original. Copy over original. I already know this isn't going to work because that's a different fraction. We divide this by 2, and we get 2 over 3. These are not the same numbers, so that is not a scaled copy. Let's move on to the next one, the fourth choice, 20 inches by 8 inches. So again, I'm going to put copy over original and simplify that fraction. They both divide by 2. If I divide 20 by 2, I get 10. If I divide 18 by 2, I get 9. Let's go look at the second side. An 8. Now, this doesn't look good. 8 over 6. No, we're not going to get the same fraction, but let's simplify it anyway. Practice, practice. 8 divided by 2 is 4. 6 divided by 2 is 3. These are not the same two scale factors. That is not a scale copy. Let's move on to this. Let's see, that's the fifth one. Copy over original. 27 over 18. So we need to simplify that. Now, if you're unsure of what numbers to simplify with, if you have an odd and an even, you can always start by 3. And that works 90% of the time. But I know 9 divides into both these numbers. So I'm going to divide the top by 9, the bottom by 9. 27 divided by 9 gives me 3. 18 divided by 9 gives me 2. Let's check the second side. 9 over 6. Both these numbers divide by 3. 9 divided by 3 is 3. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Look at that. We got the same scale factor. There we go. Copy over original. 180 divided by 18 is 10. 60 divided by 10 is 6. It works. All righty. So this is also a scale copy, 10 times bigger. So that's how you check them. All right, let's move on to question 2. Question 2, quadrilateral EFGH, that's this one, EFGH, is a scaled copy of quadrilateral ABCD. Select all the true statements. I'm going to need scale factor. I might as well get it. So I need the copy side over the original side, and they have to be corresponding sides, meaning the same side on both figures. I look at the top, see that? And I would do 12 over 6. 12 divided by 6 is a scale factor of 2, meaning all the sides should be 2 times the corresponding side on the original. Let's read the choices. Segment E to F is twice as long as segment A to B. Twice means times 2, but they got to be corresponding sides. We better check. E to F, right here, E to F. E to F. We go over here, A to B is 3. Those are corresponding sides, and 3 times 2 is 6, so that is twice as long. Let's go to the second choice. Segment C to D. C to D, that's across the top. Across the top is twice as long as segment F to G. Well, F to G is right here. Those are not the same sides. They are not corresponding sides, so we're not picking that. Okay, this one would be twice as long as this, B to C. Okay, not C to D. All right, got to check them. Don't just look at numbers. You've got to check them with math. All right, the measure of angle HEF is twice or 2 times the measure of angle DAB. That is not true. Angles do not change. They remain exactly the same because we need the shape to be exactly the same. All right, the length of segment E to H is 16 units. E to H is right here. So I look at its corresponding side, it's 8, and 8 times the scale factor of 2 is 16. That is a true statement. All right, the last question. You've got to check these carefully. Make sure you read it. The area of EFGH, the scaled copy, is 4 times the area of ABCD. Make sure you read it each time. Go find your scale factor. Remember, when we do area, all sides are multiplied by the scale factor, but for area, we find it using the base times the height. So our base multiplied times 2 and our height multiplied times 2. So we do 2 times 2 is 4. So the new area will be 4 times larger. So in this case, that is true, but it might not be on the test. So make sure you take your scale factor times itself 2 times. All right, you don't just pick them. All right, they might not be the same answers on the test. Hint, hint. All right, question 3. DeMarcus made a copy of a polygon below using a scale factor of 1/2. So we're going to select the scaled copy. Okay, well, let's find a corner. And I try and find the short side and a corner. And I'm going to count that corner on the original. 1, 2, 3, 4. This side's 4. 4 across. And right here, 1, 2. 2 down. A scale factor of 1/2, 4 over 1 times 1 over 2 is 4 divided by 2. So the side going across should be 2. And then 1/2 of 2, or 2 over 1 times 1 over 2, gives me 2 over 2, or 1, down. So now I'm going to go look at my scale copies. I need one that this side is 2, and going up and down here is 1. Let's go look. Well, there's A. This one here, 1, 2. Well, that works. And when we go down, it's 1. We found it. Let's look at the other ones to make sure. This one, 1, 2, 3. Nope. And it's more than one down. That is not a scaled copy with a half of a scale factor. This one is not 2, and it is not 1. This one is 3 and 1. So A is our scaled copy. Make sure you check these on the test. They will not be the same answers. All right. Question 4. A scale drawing of a rectangular park is 4 inches wide and 6 inches long. Here it is below. The actual park is 300 yards long. What is the area of the actual park in square yards? Well, first let's find the area of the scaled park. We take to find area, base times height. So that's going to be 4 inches times 6 inches, which gives us 24 inches square. Now, the scale drawing is 6 inches long, okay? This is our long. And on the actual park, it's 300 yards long. So we're going to take this number, copy, over original. 300 divided by 6 is a scale factor of 50. That is our scale factor of 50. So all the sides are 50 times bigger, okay? So we could now do 4 times 50 and get 200 yards, and take 200 yards times 300 yards to get our new area. That's one way. The other way is to take the scale factor and multiply it times itself 2 times, which is 2,500 times bigger, and 2,500 times 24, the old area, gives us the same answer as 200 times 300, which is 60,000 yards squared. Should be doing this on scratch paper, okay? Scratch paper. All right, let's go find that answer. No, 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 there it is. All right, on to the next question. The scale of a map is 4 inches represents 5 miles. What distance on the map in inches represents an actual distance of 4 miles? Okay. In my class, we might do it different. So however you've been doing it in yours, if you're in a different class than mine, do it that way. In my class, we take the second number and put it over the first. That is our scale factor. 5 over 4. Now, we have to decide, are we going to the actual or are we going back to the drawing? Well, we're going to inches because what distance on the map in inches? So that means we're going to the inches, people, is an actual distance of 4 miles. So that means we're going back. So it is 4 over 1 divided by our scale factor, which is 5 over 4. We don't divide fractions. We do keep, change, flip. And remember, you're supposed to flip and multiply by the reciprocal. For those of mine that remembered, 4 times 4 is 16. 1 times 5 is 5. 16 divided by 5. I'm going to do that over here for you. 5 goes into 16 3 times. My decimal goes up. I got 1 left over. Bring down my 0. 5 goes into 10 2 times. So my answer is 3.2 inches. And there we go. We're halfway done. Let's move to the next question. The scale on a map shows that 4 centimeters represents 5 kilometers. What is the actual number of kilometers represented by 3 centimeters on the map? So we've got the measurement on the map and we're going forward to the actual number of kilometers, okay? So it means we're going forward. So let's get our scale. We take the second number over the first, 5 over 4. Since we're going forward, we're going to multiply it by our distance. 3 times 5 on top is 15. 1 times 4 is 4 on the bottom. 15 divided by 4. 4 goes into 15 3 times. 4 times 3 is 12. We've got 3 left over. Bring your decimals straight up. Bring down that 0. 4 goes into 30 7 times. 4 times 7 is 28. We got 2 left over. We need another 0. 4 goes into 25 times. There's our answer. 3.75 kilometers. All right, remember, if you need to pause and go back over these, go back over them. We're moving on. Elena wants to make a scale drawing of her bedroom. Her bedroom is a rectangle with a length of 5 meters and a width of 3 meters. So that's in real life. 5 meters by 3 meters. All right. Elena decides on a scale of 1 to 50. Remember, there's no units on this scale. All right. Which of the following is a correctly drawn and labeled scale drawing of her bedroom using a scale of 1 to 50? Okay. First of all, we're doing a scale drawing. We are not going to be using meters. They're way too big. I know I'm going to be using centimeters. There's no way I'm going to be using meters. So since those are so big, before I start doing my math so I don't have decimals, I'm going to change those to centimeters. And I know 100 centimeters equals 1 meter. Now, some people don't remember, do I multiply or divide? Here's the easy way to remember. If you're going to a smaller unit, like centimeters, we're going to multiply because we need more of them. Okay? If you're going to a bigger unit, you divide because it's a smaller number. So I'm going to multiply both of these numbers by 100 to change them to centimeters. So right now, her bedroom is, before we use the scale, is 500 centimeters by 300 centimeters. Now we got to use the scale. All right. Second number over the first, 50 over 1. Okay. But are we going to multiply by that? Because no, we're going back to the scale drawing. Back. We're going the other direction, which means we flip it and multiply. So 500 over 1 times 1 over 50 gives me 500 divided by 50, which gives me 10 centimeters. Let's do the second side. I'll do it over here. 300 over 1 times 1 over 50 gives me 300 divided by 50, which gives me 6 centimeters. And that is the measures on our scale drawing. Let's go find them. Well, that one's not right. That's got meters. There it is. 6 centimeters times and by 10 centimeters. That's wrong because it has meters. All right. We aren't using meters on scale drawings. Way too big. Remember, a meter is bigger than a yardstick. All right. Number 8. Elena wants to make a scale drawing of her bedroom. Same bedroom. Her bedroom has a rectangle 5 meters by 3 meters. We did that. Elena decides on a scale of 1 to 50, same scale. Elena's bedroom door is 0.6 meters wide. How wide would the door be on the scale drawing? So in real life, this is the measure of her door, wide. All right, we're going backwards to that scale drawing. So I know I'm not going to be measuring in meters. I'm going to be measuring centimeters. So I'm going to change that to centimeters first. And remember, there is 100 centimeters in 1 meter. And we are going to centimeters, which is a smaller measurement, so we need more numbers. So we're going to multiply by 100 0.6 times 100 is 60 centimeters. Now we just have to use the scale, and we have to remember which direction we're going to go. The scale was 1 to 50, and when we write it, we write the second one over the first, and that's when we're going to the actual, but we're not. We're going to the scale drawing. And instead of dividing by that fraction, because if you divide, you got to do keep, change, flip anyways, you need to remember we flip it, get the reciprocal, and multiply. So 1 times 60 on top gives me 60. 1 times 50 on the bottom gives me 50. Okay, you can do this in your calculator, or you can do it out the long way. Either or, you're going to get 1.2 centimeters right here. 1.2 centimeters. All right, on to question 9. 2 more. Elena wants to make a scale drawing of her bedroom. Same bedroom. Her bedroom is a rectangle with a length of 5 meters and a width of 3 meters. She decides on the same scale, 1 to 50. So I'm going to write that scale down, 1 to 50. Second over the first. If we're going to the actual, we multiply that. If we're going backwards, we're going to flip it and multiply by the reciprocal. Elena's bed measures 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters on the scale drawing. What are the actual measurements of her bedroom? So we're going forward on this one. So we can use that for each side. So we're going to leave those centimeters for right now. 4 centimeters over 1 times 50 over 1 gives me 200 centimeters. Okay. Again, this is the actual measure of her bed, so they're not measuring in centimeters. We're going to be using that meter stick. So I'm going to convert that in just a minute. Okay. Let's do the second side first. 3 centimeters over 1 times 50 over 1 gives me 150 centimeters. So before we're done, we got to change those to meters. Now we're going to meters, which is a bigger measure. So that means we divide by 100. 200 divided by 100 gives me 2 centimeters, or I'm sorry, 2 meters. Ooh, my fault. And 150 divided by 100 gives me 1.5 meters. Let's go find that answer. There it is, the first one. Now remember, these are going to be out of order, and some of them are going to have different numbers on the test. Okay? But if you can do these, you can do them. So you can't memorize the answers. They're going to be in different order, and some of the numbers are going to be different, like that park one. Okay? So make sure you understand how to do it. All right, last question. There are 2 different maps of Ohio. The scale on the first map is 1 centimeter to 10 kilometers. All right, I'm going to write that right here. 1 centimeter to 10 kilometers. All right, the distance from Cleveland to Cincinnati is 30 centimeters on that map. All right. The scale on the second map is 1 centimeter to 50 kilometers. And there's a reason I'm writing these above each other, below each other. For those of you in my class, you remember me showing you this. What is the distance from Cleveland to Cincinnati on the second map? Well, first of all, we need to see how many times bigger or smaller the second map is. Now, if you remember, the bigger the second number, the bigger the second number, the smaller the drawing or map. The larger the second number, the bigger it is. But the way to tell by how much is to do this. Yeah, I have kilometers and kilometers. I put 10 over 50. I simplify this, and 10 over 50 simplified. Divide by 10. 10 divided by 10 gives me 1. 50 divided by 10 gives me 5. So the new one is 1/5 small, 1/5 the size. So it is smaller. It is 5 times smaller. Okay? 5 times smaller. because there's a 1 on top, okay? It's 1/5 the size or 5 times smaller. So it is smaller. So I'm going to write smaller, 5 times smaller, okay? Now, I need to change that to the new number. So I'm going to take 30 over 1 times 1 over 5 because that's the scale factor. We just found it. That's why we did that. Between the maps, 30 times 1 is 30 on top. 1 times 5 is 5 on the bottom. 30 divided by 5 on the second map, that side would be 6 centimeters, which is 5 times smaller. Okay, 30 divided by 5. All right, now let's go read the answers. And notice it says read the selections carefully. So let's go back and look. We know it's going to be smaller, 5 times smaller. We know we're going to take our answer and we're going to divide by 5. Okay, because we did 30 divided by 5. All right, the first one says the distance is 6 centimeters. That's true. The lengths on the second map are 5 times larger. No, they're not. They are smaller, 5 times smaller. Because 1 centimeter represents 50 instead of 10, multiply 30 by 5 to get 6. No, and first of all, we don't multiply 30 by 5 to get 6. 30 times 5 is 150. No. Go to the second one. The distance is 6 centimeters. That's true. The lengths on the second map are 5 times smaller. That's true. Because 1 centimeter represents 50 kilometers instead of 10 kilometers. Divide 30 centimeters by 5 to get 6. Well, that's what we did. So there's the answer. When we look at the other, it says the distance 300. That's not true. And those are both wrong. So we have completed these. This study guide definitely gets you ready for the Unit 1 test, but it gets you ready for the Unit 1 diagnostic from Illuminate. Okay? The questions on our test might have some easier ones, but on the Illuminate, some of these questions will be very much the same, but the answers will not be in the same order. And some of them will be the same type of questions, but the numbers will be different. Okay? If you can do this, you can do that. Do it several times. Go back and watch this part of the video on the questions you missed. You don't have to watch the whole thing if you understand part of them. So I hope this helps you. If you need any extra help, please ask your teacher. And make sure you remember to use scratch paper, show your work, and the more times you do that study guide and you work out those problems, the easier the test is going to be. Good luck.